Depreciation is an estimate. A company buys a server, decides how many years it will be useful, and spreads the cost across those years. Change the estimate, and nothing physical changes, but the earnings do, immediately, with no cash moving at all. Across the AI build-out, these estimates have been revised, and the revisions do not all point the same way. Two of the largest buyers of AI hardware disclosed changes within about a year of each other. One extended, the other wrote equipment off early. Same class of asset, same market, opposite direction. That contradiction is the most useful thing in either filing.
Take the extension first. Meta moved the estimated useful life of most of its servers and network assets from 4 years to 5.5, effective the 1st of January 2025. The disclosed effect was a reduction in that year's depreciation expense of $2.9 billion. Nothing was bought, upgraded, or retired to produce that number. An estimate changed. Now, an extension is not automatically wrong, and the stated reasoning across the industry is real. Hardware reliability improved, software got better at keeping older fleets productive, and operators have far more years of data than they did when the original 3- and 4-year assumptions were set. If a server genuinely runs useful workloads for 5.5 years, then 5.5 years is the honest number, and the shorter one was overstating cost. The question is not whether extending can be right, it is what independent evidence you have that it is.
Which brings us to the other disclosure. In the fourth quarter of 2024, Amazon went the other way. It reduced the useful life of a subset of its servers and networking equipment from 6 years to 5, and took a charge of $920 million for equipment it retired early. The reason given was the pace of technology development, specifically in artificial intelligence and machine learning. That is the same justification the extensions use, pointed in the opposite direction. And this is the part worth sitting with. The extension is an assumption made in advance about hardware that has not aged yet. The write-off is a record of what actually happened to hardware that did. One is a forecast, the other is an outcome. When a company tells you a class of asset lasts longer and then retires that class of asset early and pays for it, the second statement carries more information than the first.
The reason any of this matters at the scale it does is that depreciation is not a footnote in an AI business. It is the mechanism by which very large capital spending becomes reported cost, and the timing of that conversion determines whether the current build-out looks profitable. Stretch the schedule, and near-term earnings rise while the cash going out the door is unchanged. Compress it, and the reverse happens. Because the spending is so large, this estimate has leverage that would be trivial anywhere else. 18 months on one company's schedule moved a single year's expense by $2.9 billion. And unlike most estimates, this one is very hard to check from outside. There is no public register of how long any given accelerator stayed in production service. The disclosure is the estimate. The only external check is the company's own later behavior.
So what do you do with this? Not conclude fraud. These changes are disclosed, they go through auditors, and the operational reasoning behind them is coherent. There is a well-publicized short-side argument that the industry is understating depreciation by roughly $176 billion across 2026 to 2028, and overstating some companies' earnings by more than 20% by the end of that. Treat it as what it is, an estimate built on assumptions about replacement cycles that the estimator cannot observe either. It is a claim, not a measurement, and I am not going to render it as one. The more useful discipline is narrower. Read the useful life assumption as a forecast the company has published about its own hardware. Then watch for the two things that test it: accelerated depreciation charges and any quiet shortening of the schedule for a subset of assets. Both are admissions, and both get disclosed. The forecast tells you what management expects. The write-off tells you what happened. Only one of them has been through contact with reality.